What's up everyone, welcome back to Drive for Garage. Today we're going to be riding on the 1991 Yamaha Virago and we're going to see if I paid too much for it. Got me a good old Mountain Dew. I got the one with the motorcycle on it, of course. But yeah, not much to it. We'll get riding and we'll get rolling. You can tell me if I paid too much for this bike. So this is going to be the story about how I got it and how much I paid for it and what my plans are for it. So just sit back, relax. This is going to be a little bit of story time. You guys can just let me know your thoughts. Originally, I paid $1,300 for this, okay? And it didn't have a battery that worked. It didn't start up. It didn't even pop when I tried to put starter fluid on it. But I was pretty hungry for a motorcycle, so I ended up walking away $1,300 with this motorcycle that did not run. Now, I've always kind of picked up bikes that didn't run. I don't think I've actually picked up a single bike that ran there on site that I could just start up. They were all broken down, and so I figured, you know, I could just do a quick carb clean on this bike and it'd be all good. The guy had ridden it before. It had been his daily. He had gone cruising on it. And so I figured it wasn't too bad of a price. Plus he gave me a bunch of extras. There's this cool little charger thing right here. It's got some cool saddlebags on it, as you saw. Just a pretty nifty little bike. But of course, just like most project bikes, this had a lot more work to go into it than the guy originally let on. Look at that. That's pretty. That'd be fun if we get caught in a storm. So I take it back to my house. I buy a new battery for it. I put it in. Lights are all working. And so then I start tearing off the carbs. And I didn't actually take the pilot jets out. I just kind of sprayed carb cleaner down the pilot jets. I didn't actually look to see if they were clear after that. And so I threw it on the bike and it ran. It was like, oh man, 30 minutes of work and it's running sweet. But it only ran on one cylinder. And so I had to take the carbs off again. Actually pulled the pilot jets, and the one that it wasn't running on was totally clogged. So I had to actually just order new pilot jets, which wasn't a big deal. Put them in, whatever, put it back on the bike. And it ran again, but not on the same cylinder. The one that it was running on dropped, and the other one that it wasn't running on picked up. So it just swapped. There was a gap between the carburetor and the engine, and so it was letting a bunch of the air in, and it didn't have the right mixture and vacuum and all that, so it was not running right at all. Well, it turns out the tab that it bolts onto was actually just a bunch of JB Weld, which I found out after I broke it off. And then I just kind of went 4 months without even touching it, without working on it at all. Sure, it had other things going on. Freak, did I even push record? Oh, I did. Okay. And I finally started to work on it again. I got my brother-in-law to weld the tab back on because JB Weld was not working. Got the threads put back on, and so then the carburetor and the engine intake were sealing. Put it all back together. Pretty excited, and it starts right up, both cylinders. So it's pretty exciting. And that day I went and got it registered and insured, and it's been solid ever since. So there really wasn't that much to it. It was just a bunch of random weird problems. Oh freak, my saddlebag is waving, and that's the one with my GoPro stuff in it. That's expensive to lose. I'm gonna pull over, actually, see if I lost anything. I gotta find a good spot to pull over first. Bunch of blind hills and blind corners that I don't really want to be sitting on. Might as well take a drink of my Mountain Dew while I'm at it. Mountain Dew is like my go-to riding drink. If you guys have a go-to drink that you'd like to get when you ride, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll have to try it out sometime. To be totally honest, I don't even remember what was in this. Got my flannel microfiber. I got a hammock. If we lost something, it's probably not that important because I don't realize that it's gone. It's admittedly kind of still got a little bit of a rough idle. I think the pilot jets might have clogged up when I didn't touch it for ever. It's sounding pretty good right now, decent at least. Might have to pull them off again, do it once over just in case. Or it might be a carb sync problem, which I probably need to do anyways. this thing's been a pretty good, reliable bike. I could use it as my daily if I wanted. I haven't even ran out of gas on this thing yet either. I mean, it's only been like a couple weeks, so there's still time, but I feel pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty notorious for running out of gas. I've had to be towed home more than I would care to admit. I had a buddy the other day, he got a motorcycle pretty recently, and he rode it to work, and he turned it on after work, and it was making funny sounds in his fuel pump. Thought it was going out, but then he like flipped his petcock to reserve or something, and it worked perfect. You know, he just ran out of gas. There's nothing actually wrong with his bike, but you know, it happens to all of us. I usually have just project bikes that I just kind of ride within a couple miles of my house just to test them out and such, so I never really put that much fuel in them. Pro tip: whenever you're testing out a project bike, make sure to ride uphill so you can just coast all the way back home if you break down or run out of gas or whatever. Ask me how I know. I've also thought about bobbing this thing and kind of having it as a show bike, because some of these Yamaha bobs I've seen look sick. Oh, howdy there, brother. Oh, we stalled. If you think we should try to bob this thing, then just give this video a thumbs up. If we get more, then we'll say somewhere between 100 and 150, then we'll bob it. Of course, I'll video the whole thing and we'll make a whole series out of it. All right, I think that'll just about wrap it up. That's the story of how I ended up with this Virago and kind of the whole process to get to where we are now. I think I'm pretty happy with it. Not a lot of complaints here. It's been a pretty solid bike. It runs decently good. And make sure to subscribe. I'll put it somewhere up here. We'll see you on the next one.